Peace. Yo, what's good? Yo, this Mathematics right here, and I'm Wu-Tanging it live and direct with AllHipHop. Peace.
What's going on, world? It's your man, Chuck Creekmur, a.k.a. Jigsaw, here at One World Studios with my man.
DJ Thoro, a.k.a. Thorozano, Bridge to the Streets. We here, baby. Let's go.
And we are here with us, man, a legend, a Wu-Tang cornerstone.
Just gonna throw him up.
Mathematics in the building.
Peace. What's good? What's
good, man? Finally.
Made it up here. We finally got it popping.
First of all, man, Black Samson, the Bastard Swordsman. Let me get it all there.
Yeah, gotta get it all out.
All those titles.
Yeah. Great album, bro. So let's go right there with it. Let me give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
Round of applause, man.
You know, clap too.
When we talk about modern day, we don't get a lot of complete albums these days.
Yeah.
It's a drought. You know what I mean? So this is a real treat in 2025, man.
Word.
Yeah, so congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So you got all living Wu-Tang members represented.
Yep.
Not only that, but you have other people in there.
Yeah.
Benny, Cool G Rap.
Yep.
Even Corrupt. Ralph. Uncle Ralph is on this album.
Uncle Ralph. As he should be.
He should.
Yeah.
He opens the album up.
As he should.
Yeah. So tell us a little, just real quick, we'll get more into the album, but you know, how long did this take? How hard was it to compile all these people?
It took a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of me. When I make my beats, I don't make beats like I used to. They don't come fast like they used to. And I think that comes too with more crafting your beat more and actually making a song out of it. Mm-hmm. So it takes a while for me as far as getting the MCs involved. Once I had a foundation to the beat and I presented it to them and we talked it over, discussed it, it wasn't no problem. It was kind of easy to get brothers on there. Even like the features, I mean, like with 38 Special, we connected. I went through to his spot. He was like, yo, come through, check me. So I went through, checked him. We laid it up at his spot.
Drew is he up top still, or is he? Well, you don't have to give his exact location. But
It was. You know, it wasn't that far of a mission.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it was a pleasure. It was definitely a pleasure to go through there and build with 38 Special. Yeah. Corrupt, when I hit him, he was with it. You know, Uncle Ralph. And definitely wanted to pay homage to certain brothers. Like, that's one of the brothers right there.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Ralph. He's a great guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody in the Wu ever tell you no when you present a beat to them? Because I like to deal with, I guess realistic conversations too. Because maybe people think, oh, you're Math. Of course they're gonna do it. You ever experienced that? Like you bring something to any member and they're like,
yeah. It's like, nah, I ain't feeling that one right there. I mean, you know,
right.
And in all honesty, I want that because if you're not feeling it, I don't want you on the track.
Right. Okay.
Because I want you. You know what I mean? Unless it's a track I know you can murder, right?
Right.
So like certain people I can't take no from because I know this is, if you don't know it, I know it.
Right.
It's like, yo, trust me. Just do this one right here. And they'll do it, and then they'll be like, yo, all right, true.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we'll get back to that one. How did you become a member of Wu-Tang? How did that happen? Because you're not from Staten Island or Brooklyn.
Nah, I'm not from Staten Island or Brooklyn. I guess I'm the that's why I'm the Bastard Swordsman. I'm like the unofficial member, if you want to say.
Yeah.
But I was down from day one.
Okay.
You know, as we know, like rocking the shirt. I created the logo.
See, that's the main new.
Well, we gonna get into that.
Okay, we'll get into that. So for me, my introduction, I knew RZA for mad years. I knew RZA since I was young, since I was like 15 years old.
Okay.
You know, and it wasn't even on no music. It was, you know, Gods and the Earths, going to the rallies. We used to cross each other paths. A lot of older brothers, you know, from Medina, Brooklyn, that, you know, he came up under. And a lot of the older guys I came up under from the desert, you know, they knew each other, always build. And, you know, you get to the rally, it's like a family thing.
Yeah.
So while the older guys is building, the younger ones is building. And, you know, so that's how I knew RZA. I knew Jizza. Jizza, to me, for a while was like, what's dude from Sesame Street? Mr. Snuffleupagus, right?
Oh, bird.
Right,
No.
right. And the reason why I say that, because I knew his family from Queens, right?
Yeah, right.
And they live right around the corner, right? And I used to hang out. You know, I grew up under Life, which is his cousin, and he sung on Cold World, you know, Life a lot. And he used to roll my Lightner, Infinite, and Shy, who was down with Cypher Sound. So I knew them brothers, but I didn't know Jizza at the time, but I always heard about him.
Okay.
Be like, yo, you got to hook up with Justice. Like, you a dope DJ here. He's an ill MC. And they used to always tell me to hook up with him. I'd be like, bet. And they'd be like, yeah, I just spoke with him. He's coming. He'd be around the way this weekend. So I'm like, bet. I'm finally meet the God.
Right.
Go around the block. It's like, yo, you just missed him. he just left.
Right.
And this went on for years.
Right.
That's why it's like, you know, for a while, he's like, yo, does he really exist?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
yeah, but then, you know, I finally got a chance to meet him. And when I did, you know, he came to my lab, was DJing for him. And he's like, yo, you my DJ. It was like that.
Got the job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He was a dope MC. Like, he lived up to the hype.
Right.
It's like, because I heard so much about him. So when I finally heard him, it was like, oh, okay. Dude is nice.
Right.
And that's how, you know, my introduction to Wu-Tang was with Jizza.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I didn't even know him and RZA was cousins at the
Right.
time.
Wow.
And you're originally from Queens. Is it Queens?
Yeah, I'm originally from Queens, Southside Queens.
Southside Queens.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Got you.
Yep.
Do y'all still call it South Suicide, or is that just an Onyx thing?
Southside Queens.
Look, brothers was calling it, South Suicide Queens. Well, I always called it Southside Queens. That, you know, yeah.
We don't want to put that
You know,
stigma on there.
Yeah. It was South Suicide Queens,
Suicide.
and then Cop Killing Queens and all
we
that.
don't want that, man.
Nah,
We don't want
it's like, yo,
It's
South.
infamous. Infamous for so many different things.
Yeah.
For so many
Now,
different things.
what got you into DJing? You know, being fellow DJ to DJ. Like, what inspired you to DJ?
It wasn't what, it was who.
Okay, who?
Grandmaster Vic.
Of course, Queens. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And I used to go to the park jams all the time as a shorty. Be out there with my friends. We riding our bikes and all that, you know, because I was young, you know. And this particular jam, he was in 40 Park, right? And we there early. We riding the bikes, and it's kind of empty right now.
Right.
So this particular day, I just roll up on the bike to the front of the rope, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just watching him like, yo, and he's killing it.
Right.
He was so graceful with it. And I seen him get busy before. Like, I seen him do, like, the handcuffs and all this other stuff. But now, like, I'm really just watching him. And I'm like, yo, I think that's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do. That was the defining moment, right?
Yep, that was the moment.
Right. For me, it was Red Alert, listening to Kiss FM, you know, recording the radio on Friday and Saturday. Because we take for granted, well, at least I did, hip-hop used to only come on the radio on Friday and Saturday.
Too nice.
Mr. Magic and Red Alert.
From 9 to 12.
From 9 to 12. 9 to 12.
And it started off 9-11, then they extended it 9 to 12.
Exactly. So it was Mr. Magic on WBLS and Red Alert on Kiss. So that was the only time you would hear hip-hop. So you were fiending for that on Friday and Saturday. And I was always mesmerized. I taught myself how to DJ listening to the tapes, mimicking
pause button tapes.
Yeah, pause button, and then mimicking, mimicking what he was doing, or trying my best to mimic it, and that's what made me want to DJ. It was single handedly Red Alert and Marley Marl. You know, that's what made me get into it. Never had a visual though. It was always audio. Yeah, never had a visual of how they were doing it.
Well, you want to know who made me want to DJ?
I do. Of course I do.
Yeah, you didn't know that. You don't know nothing about no DJ Creek, huh? Jazzy Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
It makes sense.
Jazzy
Philly,
Jeff.
Delaware. It makes perfect sense.
DJ Cash Money.
It makes perfect
Cash
sense.
Money, Philly.
And last but not least, Lady B.
Lady
Lady
B.
B wasn't a
Yo.
DJ, but she was an on-air personality. She was an MC, actually.
Right.
But she made it to radio through Street Beat in Philly.
Right.
And Lady B is a pioneer too. She, you gotta put some respect.
You know what's
on
crazy? Shout out to Lady B, because the first time I ever heard of LL Cool J was when LL did a block party in Philly, and it was recorded live, and she played it back on the radio because I had a cousin in Philly at the time, and he brought the tape back to New York, and it was this guy named LL. He was battling. I remember he was battling this dude named Cap One, and it was battling over Tila Rock. Jazzy J, It's Yours.
Yeah.
They was rhyming over that. And Ev was killing that shit,
I remember that.
It's on YouTube, like some of the audio. I used to have that whole tape.
Yeah.
I had no idea who this guy was, yo. I'm like, who the hell is this? He was crazy, yo.
Man, people
and he was
love
like
Lady B.
15 at the time. Like, and it was crazy, yo.
Yeah, LL.
His literature, the words it was like, how was he like? He was saying words I didn't even know. Like, what the hell does that mean? Like, it was crazy.
He looked up to people like Tila Rock and others who were very lyrical. And
I suggest anybody go to YouTube, just put LL Cool J, Lady B.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
And you're gonna hear it.
Man, Lady B, so we can get all into it, but Street Beat was just crazy.
Right.
She put a lot of people on.
And not for nothing, in my opinion, at the time, Philly always had, I would say, some of the best, if not the best DJs at the time, like DJ Miz.
Miz.
People don't. He wanted on DMC. People don't never, shout him out like Miz, Cash Money, Tap Money. Yep. These guys were incredible, man.
Yeah. Philly had the crown for him.
And Jazzy Jeff, obviously, they was incredible, man. Incredible DJs.
How'd you make the switch, or not switch, but the production? How did you develop that?
It's crazy because when I very first started producing, I didn't really know it was production. So it was right after things didn't go right with Jizza with Cold Chillin'. And I remember me and Jizza talking, and Jizza was like, yo, we got to make some joints. We got to do something. So I just remember that I had because I went back to work. I was a carpenter by trade. My pops was a carpenter. He brought me back. So I went and I copped me a S950, a Car 950, and I got a Leases, I think the HR16s or 08 or 16, something like that, as my trigger. But I was just like sampling. I was just loops with a breakbeat loop.
Right.
And me and Jizza, we did about probably like 5-6 songs. Okay. You know what I mean? But then I go out to Staten Island, and RZA is getting busy. RZA, I'm listening to the stuff he doing.
So hold on, how did you meet? That was your introduction?
No, I already knew RZA.
Oh, you already knew RZA?
Yeah.
Okay.
How I found out they was cousins, RZA and Jizza, because Jizza was like, yo, my cousin's shooting a video in Queens, go through. Okay. It was the Oh We Love You, Rakim.
Oh, We Love You, Rakim.
And when I got there and I seen it was RZA, I was like, wait, hold up. You just cousin? He's like, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, it's a small world. So that's how I found out.
Okay.
So, I went out to Staten Island. I was checking RZA, and he had a library already, and like his beats was crazy. And I'm listening. I'm like, and this is at the time when he saw about formulating the whole Wu-Tang thing. Right. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck am I doing? I'm a DJ. Right. It's like, So he was doing his thing. So I stopped. I didn't really even consider production. But the same way I looked at him that day and realized like this is me. Let me stick to DJing. Through growth and development. Now we fast forward years later when he's working on the Cuban Links and Liquid Swords album. He working on them together.
Right.
So it was like, I remember, was out there one day in Staten Island, because we used to go out there. I'm from Queens, so I used to go out there, stay for days, right? And he kind of got like, I don't want to say burned out, but he was probably like, he needed a break.
Right.
So I remember we ended up going to the movies. Me, him, Ghost, and Meth.
What movie?
That's a good question. I don't even remember.
What year?
Well, this is 95.
95?
This is 95. And we went to the, theater was right there in Staten Island.
Right.
Okay. Right? Now, I remember we went to the theater, came back. When we came back, we was drinking 40s. That you take 40s in the theater back then and all that, smoking weed, all that good stuff. And we get back, I'm kind of out of it. It's getting late. But RZA just, he went to work. So now, I seen where he started at, right? And if I'm correct, I think I might have been, because that was Michelle Court. So downstairs was the full studio. That's the second one that got flooded out.
Right.
Right?
Second one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. There was a second one.
Yeah. He had RZA, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he caught a couple of floods. Which is why in my crib, my studio, I got everything high, just in case. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I lost all my records in a flood. I had all my records in the basement. Okay, let me go back to my DJ days. I'm not BSing y'all.
Yeah.
I had amassed an insane collection of records from my DJ days.
Right.
Again, I was like more of an on-air DJ, not a, you know what I mean?
Right.
I lost all of it. it was kind of it killed me because I had Stevie. I mean I had everything.
Right.
Dad's collection, my ex-girlfriend's dad's collection, and all the hip hop, all the everything. So Floods.
Yeah.
Ooh, trigger warning.
So I try to stay away from the flood.
Yeah.
Word.
Elevated floors.
Yeah, you gotta elevate. You gotta have all your machinery up high. But he was upstairs because he had a pre-production room right there.
Okay.
So I'm in the living room, and dudes usually playing games or watching karate flicks. I was watching a karate flick. I can't recall which karate flick at the time. I just remember watching it, but I'm hearing him work. So I remember, not a few times waking up, and I'm still hearing him work. Then we'll say about 6, 7 in the morning, he finished. And when that beat was, when he cranked it up, that it was like,
What beat?
What beat was it?
It was Ice Cream.
Ooh!
It was Ice Cream.
It was Ice Cream. So
Yeah.
you kind of slept through the creation but still listening to Ice Cream.
Yeah, I was hearing it.
You was hearing
it. I heard how he started. I was hearing like everything. But it was just playing out the
footage
speakers.
of this?
No footage.
Oh my.
No footage. I just know I hopped up. I came right there in the room. I was like, yo, hold on. Like, this the same joint you was working on? He's like, yeah. It's like, what did you use to make it? He's like, this right here, the ASR 10. So I said, I'm used to samplers because I'm not really in the sampling world. So I'm, SB12,
Right.
808s, and the leases, like I was saying, like even a Kai 950 was a rack.
Right. Rack. Right.
So it was a keyboard. So I was like, well, how I do that? He started breaking it down to me, showing me things. So that was it. That was like when I saw Vic at the jam. The next day I went in, I caught me an ASR 10.
ASR 10, right.
Yeah,
Sonic, ASR 10.
But
we had to split our ASR 10. 3 people had to buy it, actually.
Yeah, but we was on the road at the time and all that. Wu was already established.
Yeah,
So I had a little money. I had a little something at that time to go be able to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money to get the turntables when I wanted to get a turntable, though.
Right.
I remember I scraped up a little bit of money. My mom's, she helped me out. She gave me the rest. I got one turntable.
Right.
And it was a Gemini.
A Gemini?
Right.
Belt drive?
Belt drive. Belt drive.
Everybody started with the belt.
Yeah.
But I only had one.
Right, you only had one? Right.
Yeah, so Big Bro came to the crib. Father Dashim, he came to the crib and he seen it. He's like, yo, what's that? I was like, it's a turntable. I'm thinking, but he's saying it like, what the f is that?
Right.
So he laughed. I'm like, what are you laughing at?
Right.
I'm not getting it at the time because I'm so excited about it.
Right.
So he broke out. He left. He came back a few hours later, him and his crew, and they brought in a coffin. They had 2 techniques for me and a mixer.
That's love.
That's love.
And he was like, yo, this is what you want to do? He's like, do this. He's like, don't do what I do. Do this.
Wow.
That's love.
That's
Yeah.
love.
That's dope.
Wow. That's a tear-jerking moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, that's dope, though, man. When somebody
that's
see
a
you,
great
like,
story.
believe in you like that, to invest in you like that, never take that for granted.
We need more of
that's
that.
dope.
We need more of that.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Today.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about you and RZA's relationship.
Okay.
You guys, let's just say people have confused his production with your production and vice versa. Does that ever get to you? Like,
At first, nah, because it's like, oh, word, you think I did that? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, nah, I didn't do that. But then at the same time, if it's something that I did and then he got the credit, then it's like, wait, hold on, I did that.
You did
Right.
that.
You know
As
what I
should,
mean?
right? You gotta
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, so
Claim your
in the beginning, yeah, I say, yeah, it did. But you know what? I think as time go by and people do their research and they know,
Right.
and they find out,
Right. Speaking of which, like Mighty Healthy,
yeah.
everybody assumed RZA did that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because because of the album it was on, it was Ghost, and you're not really, you don't really do. See, nobody in the Wu does tags.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's another thing. You know what I mean? So you don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
He
You don't know.
Now I heard a version of the album. It has tags all over. Is that just for that? Or?
Yeah, that was just for
Okay.
Yeah. That's just for the, because I was playing it before.
Right.
Now,
you had a listening session and you ran down a little briefly your discography, and it was like, we knew, but it was just like back to back, like hit after hit after hit. I was like, oh my God, this dude is crazy. It was like he got it.
Right. Speaking of which,
but RZA was getting gotta get the credit though.
No, I got my credit.
I know you got your credit.
If you people didn't look, they wouldn't know.
Exactly.
Right.
So let's do this real quick. Let's do like maybe a top 10 discography of beats that you did that people may not realize that you like. Let's start with Mighty Healthy.
Okay.
People don't realize you did Mighty Healthy.
I did Mighty Healthy.
For Ghostface on Supreme Clientele.
Cobra Clutch.
See.
Publicity. Wu-Banger 101.
Wow. Right. Crazy.
Oh, damn. Now I got brain fog. It's definitely more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you do Old Man on Master Killer?
No, I didn't do Old Man.
Who did Old Man?
RZA did Old Man.
See,
that's vice versa.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the sample the sun sample.
Yeah. What song would you say took you out of your norm, like your zone? Like what might be something that was like, yeah, that's not a.
Oh, the first joint I ever did, because I got thrown an assignment nobody else wanted.
Okay.
And it was to do a remix for a Jungle record. So, it got thrown to me.
Mm-hmm.
You had RZA, you had Fourth, you had True Master and Deck at the time, but they, I got paid for it though at the end of the day. And Jungle wasn't my thing. Like now I would approach it different because now it's like, oh yeah, like let me see what I could do. Let me rock that.
Right.
But then it's like, raw hip hop, dude. I'm listening. I'm like, I'm gonna do with this.
Right.
But yeah, that definitely took me out of my element, like.
Right.
But other than that, I would say I would say now more. I probably experiment more now. Just like even one of the joints in the new album, I think was a lot different for me, but it still has that hip hop feel to it.
Right.
And it's a joint called Dolomite with Capadonna, U-God, and Master Killer.
Okay.
And I think that one's a little different.
Okay.
But it's dope.
Yeah.
Right.
You experiment a lot with live instrument. Well, I don't know if experimenting is the right word, but there's a lot of live instruments on here. Yeah. Talk about including different elements that we wouldn't necessarily think, and actually, literally producing, not that sampling isn't producing, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that's why, like, originally I say I was a dope beat maker. Right, I had to learn to become a producer, and it took time to become a producer. So I started experimenting. I want to say around the Answer. That was the first time I really was doing like the live instruments with the hip hop and trying to find the balance in it. But I don't think I really found it until The Saga Continues.
Okay.
I think on that album I really found it especially like when I did Lesson Learned. I think Lesson Learned was one of them joints where I really accomplished trying to make something sound like a hip hop sample.
Okay.
But I always looked at it like this too. We sample live instruments. Like if you're sampling James Brown, they was in the studio playing it.
Yeah, that was playing that, right.
So now, why can't we make joints like that?
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah.
So now that's why I said my beats take me a lot longer because I might start with a bass line and then like boom, boom, humming it, then start playing it, then be like, like I hear guitar going, so now I'm going through my instruments and I'm finding a guitar, because I still use my motif. I love the sounds in there. I still use even like some of the programs, whether it's like Contact or Omnisphere, like they got some dope sounds in there. So I put them in there. I make my own samples, and then what I do is I listen I'd be like, okay, I need a real guitar player who's gonna nail this.
Right.
I need a real bass player who's gonna do this.
Right. Now, speaking of which, do you play any instruments?
Yeah, I do.
What do you play?
I mean, self-taught.
Yeah.
Piano.
Piano?
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
So you play
yep.
it by ear, everything by ear.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Dope.
Yep.
What about drums? I feel like you mess around with the drums.
I can mess around with the drums. I'm not nice at it.
Nice.
Like Redman's nice with the
Right,
drums.
yeah. Redman is nice.
Flav
And
too.
Flav, yeah,
And
Flav
Just Blaze
is
nice.
Flav is nice. Oh,
Good.
just see, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I know.
Just is nice with the drums.
Yeah.
You know who I'm gonna throw in there? Shaka Khan is nice with the drums. There's a
Oh
video-
yeah, I seen Shaka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's crazy. What was I gonna say? Oh, shout out to Nicole Bus on the album.
Yeah,
She followed me now. I met her out in Rotterdam a long time ago at a festival out there, and she's really dope. Glad to see y'all working. She brings a lot of value to the album too.
Oh yeah.
Speak on her a little bit.
So she actually was at the start of this album. So like first song I actually did for this album was Claudine, right? And when I made that, like, and you know, I know you was at the listening session, but you wasn't. But so Claudine was a song I made when my mom's passed.
Okay.
Right. So it's like the night she passed, like my mom's loved music. Like, you know, she loved, like, music was always playing in my house.
Right.
So, you know, whether my pops, my mother, older brothers and sisters. So I had a very huge, you know, you hear anything from like Roach on the drums with jazz to Solomon Burke to Jackie Wilson to Sam Cooke to Stevie Wonder to the Stylistics, James Brown. Like, it was a big mixture of everything. Gospel was being played, like Grover Washington, Cleveland, and what's the Reverend James Cleveland. Yeah.
Wait, the other one was
James
Grover
Washington Cleveland was the jazz dude.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. But that was being played, Roy Ayers and stuff like that. But yeah, James
Cleveland,
the Reverend James Cleveland, Mahalia Jackson. So you know, you would hear some, like Sunday mornings, you would hear all types of different things.
Nice.
So when she passed, it's like, you know, two things that we connected on, right? My mother drew, right, and music,
right.
So I didn't feel like drawing, but I felt like listening to some music. So I went down in my studio and I was just listening. I was just playing all types of joints, Al Greens and Solomon Burks and all the stuff that she loved. And after a while, I was like, yo, I just can't sit here and just do this like that. I got to do something. I got to create.
Right.
And what I did that night was the foundation for Claudine. So when I listened to it back the next day, I was like, oh, yeah, this is all right.
Right.
This is all right. I said, I like this. And I first thing I said, I could use a real nice soulful voice on here. And the first person came to thought was Nicole Bus. And she came to thought because I remember how she killed the Cream joint when she did Cream.
Yeah.
Right.
This blew me away. And I didn't know Nicole Bus. I never had no contact with her. But from the Cream joint, I followed her on Instagram.
Okay.
So I reached out to her on Instagram. I sent her a DM and she hit me right back.
Yeah.
And when she hit me right back, we just started talking. We hopped on a call. And, you know, I was like, yo, if you like this joint, I would love for you to get on it. And I sent it to her.
Right.
And she hit me back. She's like, no, I love this. She's like, you mind if I do something to it? I was like,
duh.
I said, yeah, but she was talking about musically, not singing.
Okay.
Because she plays like 5 instruments herself.
Damn.
She played the guitar, the bass, the drums,
right,
piano.
Real artist.
And she's dope. She's dope. So when she, like, you know, back in the day, I probably would have been like, nah. I'd be like, no. Because I felt like I'm a producer. I got to do this. Let me do this.
Right.
I just need you to sing on it. But at this point in my life, and, you know, just losing my mom, I'm more open to things, you know. So I was like, you know what? Well, let me see what you got. Let me hear what you got.
Right.
And that's my thing now. Let me hear what you got before I shut anything down.
Right. That's a good observation.
And when I sent it to her, she sent it back. And when she sent it back with that progression in it, the din. Like, I was like, whoa.
Right.
So this is powerful.
Right.
So after that, I was like, I gotta get Ghost on here. right?
Right.
So me and her talked a little bit, but I said, let me get Ghost on this joint. And I sent it to Ghost first. And me and Ghost ain't really get a chance to talk about it, how we talk about it. But we was in the same frame because he lost his mom's a little while before I lost my mom's. And when he came with that verse, I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like it was meant to be. Like we just synced up on it. Then me, him, and Nicole got on the call, and we was discussing it further. And I just didn't want it to be like like a whole downer record. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I said, well, it has a feeling of Claudine. Just like from the movies, like Claudine.
Right.
But
classic movie, by the way.
Classic movie. Yup. So I said, you know what? He showed Claudine from the mother perspective. So let me get Meth in here and let him show Claudine on a different perspective as far as being like your whiz. And Meth murdered it. So when me and Nicole was talking, she, that's why in the hook, she keep it mathematics with the 1, 2, 3, 4, but she's like, one's for the lovers, which is the first verse.
Right.
Two's for the ones we lost. You know what I'm saying? So, it's all mathematics right there. And that's how, when that record came together, I was like, yo, I gotta,
Right.
it just started something.
Right. Somebody that I feel, because I like to give credit and, shed a light on people I think that's deserving of it. Blue Raspberry.
Blue Raspberry. Oh, yeah.
She's incredible,
Blue
man.
Raspberry.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you can answer this for me.
Okay.
Why did she never come out with an album? Or what, like, I don't like to use the word what happened because they still exist and they're still here. But why is she not being utilized to her full potential? How I feel she's incredible. Like, her voice.
I don't know. That's a good question. I think if, like, back then, for me, being a producer, R&B wasn't really on my, I love listening to R&B.
Right, okay.
Because, whether back then in the 90s, we was listening to Jodeci and Boys the Men and, and still the classics. Always listen to the classics. Right. I guess that just was something for me. I can't explain it for any other producer in the clique, or I can't explain it for her because her voice is crazy.
You ever did anything with her?
No, this is actually the first thing I did with her.
Okay.
That the Mandango, she's that's because I felt like I needed a voice like that to set it off, and I was like, yo, Blue Raspberry.
Yeah, she's dope, man.
She's the she's dope.
She's dope. Those octaves she can hit, like I call it the cracking the glass octave, like that. Heaven and Hell.
Oh yeah.
Like you listen to the end of that shit. It's incredible.
Is she on Glacier's Ice? Is that her?
Yeah. She's on Glacier's. She's on
Meth, man. When I first stepped on the set,
that's on Ice Cream.
Yo, she's incredible. Yo, her voice. So I was
Rainy Days.
I always wanted to hit. I always wanted to hear a whole album from her, over some hip hop. But that, I'm like, why did that never happen?
That's a good question, but I heard she's going back on the road with us.
Yeah, I seen she did something with RZA and Ray at the orchestra. Yep. They did the whole Cuban Links, and she was. I didn't get to see it, but that's dope, man. I think she needs to be utilized more, man. Like, please do something with what I mean?
So that leads me to the next question. If you could do a full project with anybody on this album, Wu members as well as outside of,
you setting him up. It's a setup question.
Who would you choose?
Oh, who would I choose? Yeah, that is a setup question. Because put like this, I would do a whole album with anybody on that project. Anybody on there, whether it's G-Rap, I would love to do something with G-Rap. To 38 Special, to Benny, to all my brothers. It's like that. That's
a tough question.
Yeah, that's.
But sometimes like I think, well, this person, and I mean, this is not me saying this, is you saying it. Somebody might be harder to reach. Like Meth might be acting. You know what I mean? Right. So it's different factors.
Right.
Yeah, it's different factors. But me and Meth on the road a lot too.
Okay.
So like right now, and he's actually shooting a movie right now. Actually.
Okay.
So
Let me piggyback up that question because I usually wait till the end of the interview to ask this question because it gives me an insight on people's musical knowledge.
Okay.
So if I say, yo, Math, it's hypothetical too. I say, yo, you could do a whole album or a song, but only one, but with any artist, right? But here's the catch. It's hypothetical. The artist can be dead or alive from any era and any genre, but you can only pick one artist. Who would you do that song with? Who would you produce that song for? Any era, any genre, dead or alive. Any genre music.
I'm gonna say Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye, okay.
Nice.
I'm gonna say Marvin Gaye because
Good choice.
his range was crazy, his voice, and he played instruments too.
Right.
I mean, he has a musical mindset. So I think me and him in the studio together.
That'd be crazy. That's
Yeah.
good. Michael Jackson's #1, by the way. When I ask people that, it's always Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Mike. Of course,
Right.
Mike. But I would go Marvin.
Marvin,
I would
okay.
go.
And I can see that.
There's no wrong
That's
answer. That's your answer. So,
But that also stylistically makes sense to me. Yeah,
right.
makes sense.
Seeing as how everybody sampled Marvin Gaye at some point,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes perfect sense. You know what I mean?
Now you guys made it a point to mention that the artwork is not AI.
Oh,
This is for your album.
yeah, the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Two-parter. What made you make that abundantly clear? And secondly, what are your thoughts on AI as a producer?
Okay, so being an artist, drawing too, to do something on that magnitude, I couldn't do it AI. I definitely needed to utilize an artist. So we brought in Stephen Perkins, who actually did it. And he had to draw, I don't know how many different variations and a whole bunch of things that they put into their system. Macroverse, who actually did the technology. They have a technology where they was able to take all his renderings and make really 6,000 unique covers. Because the total was 6,000, so every cover is different.
Wow.
From the back to the front to the inside.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically every cover is one of one.
Yeah, every cover's one-on-one. It's a collector's
Did not
item.
know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that. Where's my copy?
Yeah, me too. Yo.
Yeah.
Look.
We gotta talk to Gina about that.
Okay.
Look, I gotta pass
Gina.
the buck.
Gina.
I work to get y'all some copies. Right?
All right, no doubt.
But yeah, so I think just want to make that clear because I think when people were seeing like, oh, it's one-on-ones, it gotta be AI, but no, it wasn't AI.
Okay.
It actually wasn't AI. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with AI. I mean, I think when you was first hearing, for me, when I was first hearing it, I was very leery of AI. But you have to do your own research, your own studies, and from what I've seen, it's how you use it. It's how you use anything. Any tool that you have in your repertoire.
Right.
Just like how we were saying, like, Meth shooting a movie. So when I was trying to do Mandango, the video, I'm trying to schedule it, but I gotta schedule it around everybody else's schedule. And I set a few dates, and then we had to change it. We had to keep pushing it, and then it was getting time close. So it was like, you know what? At the same time, Danny Hastings, who he hit me to this dude, Jason Zada. He sent me a clip, as a matter of fact. That's what it was. He said, yo, Math, did you see this? Because me and him, we talk art and photography and all that stuff. So he sent me a clip. He said, yo, did you see this? So I'm looking at it. I'm like, wait, hold on. This is banging. It looked like a movie.
Yeah.
But it was all AI. So I was like, yo, get me in touch with these people right here. He got me in touch. And that's how the video Mandango came about, because that's 100% AI.
Right. And I saw that. I did see that. I momentarily forgot.
Yeah.
You utilized AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so utilizing it to the point where I couldn't get everybody together, but I still was able to tell a story. And I think AI is good for that. And I get it. Some people say, oh, you taking jobs from writers, directors, this and that. So check this out. I got something for y'all too. I got a mini movie. It's like a, dropping, like, right now I'm busting my ass to get it done so that it's uploaded in the system when the album drops.
Okay.
But I got actors in there, director, cinematographer, gay, all that.
Okay.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think you don't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna strictly do this or I'm gonna strictly do that. I think utilize this, utilize that. It's different things you can do to get different looks and draw people in.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Okay.
Right.
Can I tell y'all about my beef with Jizza?
No, not my sister. Oh, snap.
I interviewed Jizza a long time ago, long time ago, right? And this is before I moved to New York. And he samples a certain movie on his first album. I'm not going to say the name of it, but I didn't know the movie at that time. So I was like, hey, man, by the way, what's that movie you sampled on there? He was like, it's just some movie. From around the where you get it from? I was real young then. He's like, I think he said Harlem, uptown or something. I was like, okay, all right. I didn't know. Come to find out, it was Shogun Assassin, a legendary Japanese movie, epic. And by the way, I had already owned the comic book version of it, which was Lone Wolf and Cub, the comic book version of the movie. I was like, man, just lied to me, man.
No. He didn't lie to you. You gotta remember something too. A lot of things, right, that we was doing back then too. I mean, I wouldn't reveal my samples. I would never do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you found it, you found it.
Right.
You know, but it's like, I think once you put something in the air, it's in the air.
Right.
And especially if, you ain't clear to something, you don't want nothing coming back to,
that too.
to bite you in the ass.
Right.
Which eventually everything does catches up,
Right.
and then you got to deal with it. But, especially in them young days, so we wasn't giving it away like that. So, so don't take it no way.
Okay.
And to add on to his point, hip hop knowledge has always been exclusive. If you know, you know. Because going back to the Bambaataa Kool Herc days, they would literally take the labels off of the meat, so you couldn't see what it was.
The breaks.
Because everybody got the same breaks. Why are you gonna come hear me play? Everybody, you know what I mean? So you had to go find that shit and figure it out.
Now you know what's crazy.
Well, I figured it out. Go ahead.
You know it's crazy. Because, we didn't have money back in them days to buy records like that. So, it was only one store I never stole records from. And that was Music Factory on Jamaica Avenue.
Okay.
Because Mr. Walt from the Beat Miners, he used to work there.
Okay.
And I respected him. Like, every time I came in, kick it with him, he'd be like, yo, you need this in your library. You need he have you ready to go.
Right.
So I respect him for that. But then, certain records, I was like, now I'm going to catch that at the Wiz.
right.
That's funny.
But
how do you steal records though? What kind of jacket do you?
Oh nah, you go in there with your. I was high school. You know what I mean? So you come in with your book bag. Yeah. Even in the wintertime, it's easy. Or if you bought records from the Music Factory, you got your bag. You
put
just
throw it in the bag.
Just stuff it because they wasn't. That's before the days of checking your bag at the at the door. Yeah, the counter and all that. And then, it's fucked up, but it was this cat around my way and shit, right? He was a DJ. He wasn't nice at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's a funny style dude. But he had crazy records. Crazy
you see his
records. Yeah. Right. So me and my mans, we used to go over there just to DJ, have fun over there. But we walk out with something. So it was a couple of break beats I got from him
that ended up.
Yeah, but I didn't know what it was
because the
label was off.
Right.
Then when you play, it's like, oh shit. Like I got the original Pete's the President.
Right. City Drippers.
Yeah. Like that's the Scorpio, the orange labels. Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that was the whole thing. Now, I think it's time to go there.
The logo?
I think it's time to go.
You read my mind. You read my mind. You read my mind.
So, and I want to set him up properly when I say this.
Okay.
You are responsible, and don't argue with me. You are responsible for the most notable, iconic logo in music, and I'm going to say music, and that being the Wu logo. Now as you and I both have been all over the world. I have never been in any place where I didn't see somebody with a tattoo, or it's on a wall, or it's on a flyer, or a hat. Everybody, whether they know what that means, they've seen and recognized that logo. How does that feel to know that you're responsible for this W and what it means in the legacy, and it's still holding 30 plus years later.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would say it's still surreal. At certain times, I might get that little energy like, oh, yeah, I really made that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's still surreal. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It's still like, damn, you know. Yeah,
You're a humble guy.
Yeah, because I don't really know how to feel about it because, I mean, I do, but at the same time, it's just like, I never thought it would be what it is today. I never thought it.
You didn't make it with those intentions.
Nah.
Right.
Even when I first did it, and when I first did it for RZA, it was just like...
Let's speak on that. Talk about the creation, the process, the idea, who mentioned it, why was it done, and how was it done?
Well, you gotta go back to the days of us just hanging out, you know, and talk about Wu-Tang, like the first days of, like, you know, creation, RZA with this thought, and, you know, me and Jizza, and RZA a lot, but me and Jizza more so at the time, right? We used to always talk, and Jizza's be like, nah, we need something that's really gonna stand out, that when people see it, they know off top. And you know, RZA echoed the same words, but I was more at them days and times. I was more around just Jizza,
right?
So I used to have my black book with me, so I used to draw sketches and different things. That's how like the W came with the hand holding, you know, the head, you know, because we always talk about protect your neck. And those are just pieces I was doing. Right. You know, I did RZA's first stickers when he was on Tommy Boy. Okay. And the first stickers he did, I thought, you know, he asked me to do it. And, you know, I was like, all right, what you want on it? I thought, you know, he wanted something like Prince Rakim or something. He's like, nah, put Wu-Tang on it. I was like, Wu-Tang? He's like, yeah, you know, we in the karate fix, we trade movies. You know what I mean? So it was like, all right, that's dope. That's dope. All right, that's what you want. So I did his first stickers. So you know, after years of just like doing different sketches, and you know, as a graffiti artist, right, you always have your letterings and certain letterings. So, you know, for years, like that was one of my type of letterings, actually, in all reality. You know, I had different variations of it. Right. So when I did this one, it was just like, you know, RZA called me one night and was like, yo, he needed the next day. I was like, all right, but you gotta come pick it up. You know, I gotta go to work in the morning.
There was no email.
Yeah, no. Matter of fact, he caught me coming in the house from work. Right. Because everybody didn't have a cell phone. Yeah. Right. It's like if you had a cell phone, you was either a drug dealer or you was big and popping. Right. So the only other person that I knew that I hung out with that had a cell phone or a mobile phone was Positive K.
Positive K.
Wow. Skills that pay the bills.
Skills that pay the bills. Yeah.
Positive K. Yeah, Positive K.
Yeah, shout out to Positive K. That's my brother. Man. You know, we had the same enlightener, you know. So we both, you know, positive knowledge. Yeah. You know, that's the God name. Right. And he was the only person I knew that had one. So I came in from work. As soon as I came in, you know, I'm living in 40 projects, right? As soon as I walked in through the door, ring, phone ringing. Answer the phone. It's RZA. He's like, yo, I'm getting these joints pressed up tomorrow. Need this logo. I said, by tomorrow? He's like, yeah. I said, all right. That's what I told him. You're gonna have to come to the job then and pick it up, because I wasn't going to Staten Island. Right. And it was during the week and all that. So he's like, all right, cool. So you know, when it got me, I went to the store on the 160th Street. Got me an ice cold 40 Old English. You know, I had some chocolate tie I got from Sutphin and 121, but I had to get me a Philly blunt. Got a Philly blunt. Back then it was the Phillies. Right. Yeah. Rolled me up a Philly, smoked a little bit, and then started drinking. I pulled out the black book, threw it on the floor. You know, in them days I was more comfortable drawing on the floor. So I got down on the floor, started drawing. Right. Time goes by, I'm looking at the time, I'm like, yeah, all right, this got to be it, because I got to get up early in the morning. I got to go to work. Right. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I go to work about 10-something in the morning, and I'm working at 200 Varick Street. Okay. Which is where SOBs is, you know what I mean? And upstairs, right now, I think E1's or Monarch now, they're up in there. You know, Def Jam was down the block. But they come, the elevator opens up, right? Now, I'm building a science lab. That's what we was building, some type of, whatever they doing. Right. The specs, you know, was some science. But it's really nothing there. It's barely even walls up at this point.
Right.
It's studs and a few little walls. I got my stuff in the cubby. But when the elevator doors open, and I'm the youngest one on the job. You know what I mean? Like, you know, my pops is, you know, he's running the job. Everybody else is like, at that time was like 30, older 30s and 40s and all that. Door opens up. RZA, Power, Divine, and Ghost.
Wow.
Come walking off the elevator. Hoodies on, all thugged out.
Right.
So everybody stopped looking like, who the fuck is these motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Right.
But I see him, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like this, hold on. Run to my cubby, go get my shit, come back. And I'll stand over there talking to him. I'm like, all right, so this is what I did. Open up the book, took out the page, gave it to Ra. So RZA looks at it, shakes his head. He passed it down. Went all the way down the line to each one of them. And they all looked at it. They all shook their head. And it's like, yeah, this is it.
That was it.
That was it.
Now, was that the first design?
That's what I was about to ask.
Like,
because you had swords in the like. What was the first design?
Well, it's the first. That's what I'm saying. There's so many designs because over the years I sketched so many things.
Right.
So I'm saying. So I can't.
Because if I'm not mistaken, the one on Protect Your Neck
was the book. And the sword.
Right.
Yeah, that's the first design. Yeah, that's the first
That's
actually.
the first.
Yeah, that's the actual first one.
Okay.
And then if you took away the sword, the book, formulate the W. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
that's
and
crazy.
you got the approval right there on the spot when everyone saw it, and that was it.
So Wu-Tang and Public Enemy, those are the two top.
Yeah,
logos.
I'm gonna go with Wu.
P.E.
But those are the two top.
I'm saying
logos,
I'm speaking from a design perspective. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to get on to the, but I have to respectfully say that to me those are tied.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's subjective, but
yeah, subjective.
Chuck D actually did the P.E.
He's an artist. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I love Chuck D. No, I ain't gonna lie. That's my man.
D.
Right.
Big bro.
And his dad's a carpenter, and my dad was a carpenter too. We talked about that a little bit in the the listening session. Yeah, my dad was a carpenter. That's why I make sure I always keep a little callus on my hands. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to be his apprentice.
Right.
For the logo. No more. You ain't got that.
Hey,
but I used to work with my dad, and he got so frustrated with me, he fired me. He was the first person to fire me.
Get out of here.
Right.
Like,
wow.
I was an artist too, but he and I didn't quite line up with the carpentry, man. I wish I did though, because
wait, time out. How you go home after that? It's like
yeah, right.
It's like
I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a good question. Like, what happened? I got fired.
Right.
Well, you're there.
I ended up working at stinking Burger King or something, which makes no daggone sense.
What did you say to you when you got home? You know, I had to do that, son.
Nah. I mean, I just wasn't passionate about carpentry. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And
he's wasting his time, basically.
My dad built our house where we lived, and I wish I still, had that skill set.
Right, okay.
Because I would love to build a house. Like, building a house is crazy, and you live in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in hindsight. But now they got guns that shoot the
nail guns.
The nail guns in, like, all that.
They got lasers.
Pre-made houses and all that.
No, but you want to hear something funny?
Yeah, what?
What you just said?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the passion either.
Oh, okay.
Like, after the first 2 weeks, after the first week, I was going to quit.
Wow.
I said I was going to quit. I said, I'm going to finish it out because, Pops actually come back. Let me finish it out. I got that first check.
Oh.
I said, you know what?
I think I'm going to stay a little
I'm going to stay a little bit.
Yeah,
the check got me. Yeah, I ended up.
That's well, see, my dad was paying me under the table. I don't even know what my dad was paying me. It wasn't that much.
He's paying you with knowledge.
But you guys were doing actual things.
I ended up in the you and all that.
Okay.
Local 348.
Do you ever think about where you might be? What if? Like, if I had kept just like, what if I didn't do the logo? What if I didn't start DJing or producing? Where would I be?
Good question. I actually, them thoughts do come across you, especially when you do certain things. Even recently, just because of doing this album, putting it out, I'm like, wow, like, if I wouldn't have decided to go this route, I don't know.
Right.
You don't, I don't know.
You don't know.
No, like I probably would have stuck with carpentry. Maybe I would have been retired right now. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. You just never know what. Yeah, yup. You just never know what happens in life. You know what I mean? You know, then it's like maybe I might be. You know, I got kids.
Yeah.
You know, I mean they all grown now, but at the time it's like.
Right. Do you ever walk past someone wearing the shirt and you're like, they don't even realize?
Yeah, of course. yeah.
Like they don't, like, that's some surreal, like you said, it's surreal. Like they don't even realize that they walked past the person that created that. You know what I mean?
A lot of times I'll be like, yo, that's a nice shirt. I like that shirt.
Right.
They're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Right.
I blurted out a question to you during the listening session.
Yeah.
Because, it's kind of well known the original amount you were paid for the logo.
Mm-hmm.
But, you let me know that you settled up, so to speak. And y'all did.
Yeah, because there were certain things that was even when I first made it, it was certain words that was spoken that it's supposed to go like this. It's supposed to go this way. But then being that, we was young in the business, a lot of things didn't go right in the beginning because, of course, people going to take advantage of you. And not saying my brothers, but, the labels and everybody else, the machine is going to try to use you and spit you out.
Yeah.
That's just what the machine does and milk you dry, period. But, I could say I'm glad that I do, have brothers that stay to their word and end up, making things correct, smooth, and so
as they should. That logo is everything, man.
It took a long time.
It's the identity. It's the identity of the legacy.
That's good, though.
Like,
I'm glad to hear that.
That logo is everything, man. And the fact that you created that, like, that's generational wealth. What you created, it's laid on the floor. Like, little did you know that you was creating generational wealth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, because like you said, man, so many people come in the game, and they get ate up.
Yeah.
They get ate up. You seem to have maintained your, I don't know what the word is, but you're very humble. I think you could be not so humble if you really wanted to.
Yeah, of course. And I think that comes too with growth and development.
Okay.
Because when I was younger, I was a lot more fiery. Fiery guy. But as you grow, you develop, and then at the same time, you got to be grateful for a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it, but
that's cool.
Did
you ever work with ODB?
Yeah.
How was he for you?
I never did a beat for Old Dirty. We were supposed to connect on when he came back home or whatever, but we talked about on the phone, talk about doing a couple of joints, and we had concepts, and it just never came into fruition. Unfortunately, we all know what happened. But Dirty was a brother I used to hang out with all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Dirty used to come to the crib all the time. We used to drink 40s, hang out, and all that. So me and him was always good, Yeah.
Yeah. I've never had a 40, by the way.
Never had a 40?
Me either.
I pretended to have one.
I never drink or smoked in my life.
Oh, that's peace. That's
really?
Good.
Never.
Wow. We would have been twins then, because I didn't either for the longest time. Never. And then I started thinking mortality, and I was like, man, I don't want to pass away never having drank nothing ever, or you know what I mean. I'm a little more risk. I've taken some. I don't want to say risks, but I've done things out of my comfort zone.
Right. Are you a collector of like the vintage Wu clothing you guys were wearing back in the day?
I still got a lot of.
Glad you said that. Please tell me you have the leather hockey jersey with the Wu. It was different colors. There was a green one. There was a yellow one. There was a red one. And it was made out of leather.
I might. I know. I got leather jackets. I
need a jacket.
Pants,
I
gotta
come talk to this guy.
I got a lot of.
Because I know DJs as collectors, we collect records, so we respect things. Like we keep them up.
Yeah.
Most people they don't value it.
Look, I got laminates from.
We need a museum, another like a.
There should be a Wu-Tang museum. Actually,
Yeah,
it should be.
crazy. Did they do that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They did that, right?
Where
is it?
No, it was like
a little small joint.
Yeah, a little small joint.
Right.
I think Cinnamon did that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Mook and yeah, but I still keep laminates because I got laminates from Lollapalooza the first time we did it with Metallica. I got laminates from the Hard Knock Life tour.
Right. I do the same. I keep all my.
I got
wristbands. I keep the most trivial stuff that people think. Why you?
I don't really keep the wristbands, but the laminates I keep.
Right.
I definitely got laminates like.
I need a hockey jersey, man. I need a leather hockey jersey. I know you got about 20 of them in the house.
No, I don't have one of the leather ones.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
You talk about the leather joints. No, I don't have. I don't have that. No, I don't have that.
Wow, yo.
I thought you talking about like when we did the hockey.
I was watching the Source Awards. It was 95 that you had them on. The leather hockey jerseys, and everybody had on a different color. Meth had on a green one, Ghost had on a yellow one, Ray had on a red one, Dak had on a blue one. It was all different colors. It was leather hockey jersey. I'm like, yo, them shits is crazy.
Yeah,
who was making that?
Power.
Yeah. Shout out to Power.
Power is an elusive
so
guy.
Let me call Power then.
He got Power. Power leveraged the brand.
The Power. Let me call Power.
I got a nice Wu-Tang jacket. It doesn't have the logo. Well, the logo's probably on
the sleeve.
Side, yeah.
It's crazy, man. I go to walk in Walmart, Target, and I see that logo, and I see the shirt, and I'm like, wow, like I know the guy that did this. I mean, like that's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
Because he's right up there with Metallica. You see Bon Jovi T-shirts, you know what I mean?
Run
James
DMC.
Brown, Run DMC,
yeah.
Public Enemy, obviously. Yeah. You see all of this
stuff.
It's
crazy how hip-hop is safe now.
Right.
It's so safe. Like back in the day, Wu-Tang could never be in a Kmart or whatever, back in the day.
And the reason why I think the Wu logo is more iconic because it's the only label that has a hand that has a hand. You can't how do I do the PE logo? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Well,
how do I?
I think it's
universal
in a way.
It's a sign language.
Others aren't. Definitely.
So I think that's what now
I think about it, I put Run DMC's up there too.
No, Run
on an iconic level.
It's definitely iconic.
Yeah, I would say on an iconic level, I gotta say Wu. Gotta say that W. I would say PE. I would say Run DMC. Cypress Hills.
Cypress Hills. Even the Def Jam logo.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Def Jam.
Def Jam. Yeah. Rough Riders. Death Row.
Right. Death Row.
Yeah. There's quite a few logos. I personally, actually like Onyx's logo.
Oh yeah.
Onyx. That's dope too. That's dope too.
The Bullhead.
That's dope too.
Yeah. And Big Pun.
Big Pun with the
Jordan.
Yeah. What hip hop artist would you want to work with? Now I think about Pun. I was talking to some Latina and a Latina, low Latino, and we were just talking about what if Pun lived? Like, where would hip hop be? And I'm like, man, there's some certain people like all of them really. Biggie, Pac, Pun,
Big L.
Big L, like ODB, even like the game would be so different. DMX, even
it would be different because I think with the loss of some of these individuals, the labels felt like there's a place that has to be filled. So in filling that place, we get certain individuals that came through.
Right.
Yeah.
But had they been here, I think it would have been different.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely would have been different.
Do you have any recordings from the first album that didn't make the album that no one's have heard?
You know what I had, and I can't find it no more. I got it, and I know it's on one of my DATs somewhere. It was Ghost over Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to F with.
Oh, you had wow.
It was called Who the F is You?
And you're the only one with this?
I can't. I don't know if I got for it.
Right.
It's like
right. Were you there when Nas recorded Verbal Intercourse?
No, I wasn't.
He wasn't there because he did a verse and he did two verses and it was like not that one and then he did the one that they used. Where's the other verse?
That's a question.
You be asking him stuff. He
I don't know. He probably. I don't know. I don't know if he was there or not. So I'm asking. Maybe he was there. He's like, yo, I got that. You don't have.
Nah, I would love to have that.
You know what I mean?
But I don't. Just
but
like,
you remember when he was around, coming around, that happened,
Yep,
right? So he was aware of it. You know what I mean?
But I don't have that.
You don't have it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's a joint on the album, right? The Shaolin versus Wu-Tang, right? That was a joint that, you know, if you want to say that's like really the first joint that was done for the album, but was done a long time ago.
Right.
And I couldn't find the reels or nothing to it. And it was just like a muddy joint, right? It was real muddy. And it was called Rap Burglars. And I always wanted to do that joint right.
Right.
So I had the opportunity to like, yo, I want to do this joint. I want to do it right this time.
Right.
And I did it. And at first I started to put it on just as a bonus. But when I'm, you know, structuring the album, putting it together, it just fits so right in there. It had to go in there.
Right.
It had to. It just had to be in the mix because it wouldn't have been right.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, and you know, and it's one of them joints. I guess if you know, you know.
You know, right?
If you know, you know, just like even with Jigsaw, I was trying to get Jigsaw to do, you know, a certain type of thing, but it didn't. What we ended up doing, you know, because he basically did it. It's like a hook, and it's kind of like off of a verse that he already did for me. So I just scratched it in.
Right.
You know what I mean? But just to have your presence on it,
right,
for me was beautiful. Right. You know.
So, and you know, and I always want to do this too. I have to do this. DJ to DJ, man. Like you're a dope ass DJ.
Thank you, bro.
Because I always tell DJs, man, when you DJing for an artist, you got to make yourself a part of the show. Don't just be the guy back there playing music. Be able to provide. You should have your own little section, and I say that to say you get busy. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you, bro. Yeah, I'll be watching.
Yeah, you get. Yeah, so it's inspiration. Like, yo, that nigga's nice. You know, we had the chair, the vibe. You get busy.
I'm throwing myself in there.
Hey, you know what's crazy? I was watching on Rap City. It was you and RZA on Rap City. I never realized RZA could DJ until I saw you and him going back and forth. That's on dope. Rap City, and I never knew that. Like, I'm like, yo, RZA's nice. RZA's nice, man.
Rap City, man. We need another. We need
some. So salute to you, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, people got to realize. I think the dopest producers with DJ.
Exactly, Dr. Dre. Because it goes hand in hand. Dr. Dre, yeah. Pete Rock, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Marley Marl,
yeah. So.
Mr. Walt, Evil D.
Yep. DJ.
Yeah, it's always because you got the ear for music.
Yep.
You know what to do.
So
you know what to do with it. So it's easy to make it. You know what I mean?
Look, when I did Rock and Soul, right? I did a little short setup there. And I remember Gina was like, I never saw you DJ before. I didn't know you could really DJ.
Yeah, see, it's crazy.
Because a lot of people walk around with the title DJ.
DJ,
don't say their names.
You can't do nothing.
No, I ain't got
you can't get busy. You can't do nothing, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of dudes that do that.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of dudes that do get busy.
Right. And I always try to recognize that. Like, tell them, like, yo, this dude's dope. Because I got to be inspired, man. When I got to look at you and be like, oh, shit. Now I want to.
Right.
If I look at you and be like, hey, okay.
Yeah, what was I doing? Right.
Let me ask you something about the album. Is this a Wu-Tang album?
It's a Wu-Tang album. It's not a Wu-Tang Clan album.
Okay.
It's a Wu-Tang album in the sense of it's Wu-Tang. Like if you look at like Cuban Links, that's a Wu-Tang album. Supreme Clientele is a Wu-Tang album. And it has everybody involved in it. So that's, this one falls under the banner of Wu-Tang. So it's a Wu-Tang album, but it's not a Wu-Tang Clan album. Right. It's a mathematics album under the banner of Wu-Tang.
Gotcha. Right. I like that answer. What's next for you, man? I mean, obviously this album is here. Yeah. It's hopefully gonna get the proper accolades because we all know that the environment that we're in, it's hard to get traction. But what do you hope for, and also what do you have next?
Well, you always hope for the best, and so far everything is great, The response has been great. The singles have been hitting and getting real good response, and I know what else is on the album. Once they hear that, they're gonna love that album. And like you said, people don't really make albums no more, and for me, that's my whole intention because that's how I grew up. I grew up listening and waiting on albums to come.
Yeah. Body of work.
A body of work where you can see somebody complete vision. You can't see my vision in just one song.
Exactly.
Facts.
Exactly.
So it's like I need you to, you know.
And I'm glad you made that album tangible, like something people can touch.
Right.
That's why a lot of stuff gets thrown to the wayside and it's disposable because you can't touch it. You know what I mean? It's there and it's gone. Like that. Like you know, we come up, we look at the credits. Yeah. Where was this produced? Who produced it? What studio? Look at the artwork. Look what they're wearing. All that plays a role in the album. Yeah. When you just email a file, it's like, it's gone. You know what I mean? So. Tangible products, man. Tangible.
Shout out to mathematics. Man, listen.
Exactly.
Man, you in the running for the, best album. We doing a running list.
Oh, okay.
Best albums of the year.
Album is dope, man.
Yeah, album is dope.
And I like how you stay true to you hip hop. Like you never compromise your sound or who you are as a person to try to fit in, but what's going on or not going on. And that's what I always loved about you and just the whole clan in general, man. You stuck to your guns, you stuck to your sound.
You got to.
You bring people into your world.
You got to.
That's a fact. Round of applause. Oops, go ahead.
No, I just want to say, because if you don't, it's like, if you don't bring people into your world, like you saying, you trying to fit in, you trying to do something that's not you.
Not you.
Right. And people are going to love you for you.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. And I think that's how New York, I can speak on this, sound got lost. You stopped bringing people into our world and started trying to mimic other shit, and that's not who we are. Yeah. I mean, and
it ain't nothing wrong with the other music.
It's not.
But if I want to hear, certain sounds, I know where to go.
Right. Exactly.
I know where to go.
You know where to go for that. Right.
And yeah.
Exactly. So there it is. Teachable moment.
I thought y'all was about to go into the old man rant full blown. I was like, no. Here we go. No, I was just saying.
Listen, music.
I think. Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I ain't got no problem with music nowadays or individuals, because it's like everybody, you do what you do.
Yeah. Facts.
It's the youth. It's their time. Let them do what they do.
Because guess what? If Wu-Tang came out with a sound that nobody heard, it wasn't even New York to me. It was just foreign.
Right. It was their own world. They was in their own world. That's my point. Yeah. They was in their own world with lingo. You didn't know, like, half the people that was only on Staten Island knowing what they was talking about. You know what I mean?
But I think there's an argument.
5%. You didn't know. A lot of people had no idea what the hell they were talking about. But
I hear you.
It intrigued you.
I feel you.
And that's why they're still here 30 plus years later.
That's a fact. You know what I mean? And that's a rare feat.
So that's my rant for the day.
Round of applause for mathematics.
Exactly.
DJ, producer,
extraordinary, and artist,
and game changer. Because we don't have enough game changers in hip hop. You know what I mean? People who, if without their function, the whole game is different.
Right.
The logo alone.
That logo,
don't even talk about music. The logo alone is the game changer. And then we just go, and then everything else is.
I put that logo up there with Jordans. Like, you have kids that wear Jordans, they have no idea about Michael Jordan. They just know.
That's a fact.
That's what that logo is.
They just know it's cool.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
Iconic status, brother.
That's a fact.
Thank you, my brother.
Man, I appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.